Okay, everybody, I'm here with Farron today. So I spent about the week in Barcelona here in Spain. So I got the Ran guitar, and as the videos you guys seen earlier, we kind of went through all his guitars, checked them all out. He has a lot of great stuff. So Farron has an interesting story. So he, at one point in his life, he accumulated a lot of guitars, right? About 130, 60 at
160,
yeah, 160.
But
so
at once it was like 35 maximum.
Yeah. But at one time in his flat here is about 35. So he's got an interesting story. So we're gonna start talking about that. So Farron, first things first, tell me about growing up. What got you interested in guitar, and what got basically growing up? Tell me how you got interested in guitar and got learning how to play.
Okay, so first of all, nice to meet you all. Hello to everyone, and first of all, sorry for my English. Yeah, I'll try and speak as clear as I can. So it all began when I was about 12, maybe I would say, or 11. Yeah. So of course, as many people, I didn't start with electric guitar. I started with classical guitar, and I had about a couple of teachers, and probably, we mostly have like bad experiences with teachers at the beginning. Yeah. So in the beginning, I would just learn like theory and scales and a bit absurd. And of course, no, you have to sit down this way, you have to sit down that way, you have to put the finger here. So I got tired, I got bored, I got tired of the classical guitar quite quickly. Then I moved on to acoustic guitar, and then when I was still living with my parents, then I got the very first electric guitar. So it was a present from my parents. My parents gave me a present. I was about maybe 15 or so, 16 maybe. Yeah. So I got my first Fender Squier, amazing. But actually, it was a good one because it was a Japanese one. I didn't know a lot about Fenders and so on by then. But I got a good guitar without wanting it. Like voluntarily. That's what my teacher said when I had the first real teacher called Angel del Álamo. Very good teacher, yeah. A very special old man. And so I had that Fender Squier. It was a good guitar, and then I installed in there the whole set of Brian May pickups, and with the system and so on, with that pickup switching system, yeah. And that was great. So I played with that guitar. I think that's the guitar I played with more in my life, yeah. And so I had the first teacher, and so he he tried to teach me how music works, yeah. But at that moment, I didn't really get it, yeah. I got it much later, how it all works. But that's more or less how I began. But yeah, I think that's it, yeah.
All right, so Farron, here's what's interesting. So he lives in Barcelona, Spain, right? But he has owned over 150 guitars, and a lot of them that are popular in the United States, right? He owned Kramer's, like the Ran guitars. He's Ibanez's. virtually every single kind of 80s rock kind of guitar he has probably owned at one time, and he keeps a lot of records. So over 150, and at one time his most he had was about 35 in this flat right here, which is crazy because it's a lot of guitars in this little place, right?
Yeah.
Farron, so tell us what got you interested in like the 80s rock guitars. So tell us how you got interested in that and buying and selling all those guitars over that certain period of time. Tell us about that. What got you interested in it, and how you bought and sold all those. What got you interested in the first place?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you later why this happened, but I'm going to tell you how it all began now. Okay. So it all began, I think, with that teacher that I was telling you about called Angel. And actually, it was after some years that I realized that it was because of this, but it happened because of this. So he had a Kramer Stitchmaster red, flip-flop red, golden hour, but it wasn't the custom one module. It was the deluxe, I don't know, the standard model. So just one pickup, slanted pickup, and well, gosh, I thought that's a Ferrari, Formula number one, or is it Ferrari? I wouldn't describe it as a Porsche. I would say it's a Ferrari because I don't know, the red, that red color with the flip flop, like sort of purple, sparkles in there, with that golden hour. It really was impressive. So, but at that time, I didn't realize that I was hooked on that already. But I just played with him. I went to lessons. Yeah, he taught me as much as he could. Funny though, because one day he told me, we were doing a lesson. He just stood up. Well, he sort of smoked sometimes, other things other than cigarettes, and he had, well, long story. Yeah. And so, well, one day he stood up and said, well, he went to the window, and I remember that day very well. He said, he just turned to me and said, "That's all I had to tell you." I was like, "What do you mean, Angelo? what are you talking about the joint or the?" So he said, "No, I mean, like, I told you everything I know about music." I was like, but we still haven't begun, because I was used to the other side of teaching, like scales and chords and. So I think that I was expecting. I mean, you know, when you are walking and you want to get to the top or to the summit, or you want to get to that goal, and you lose all the way to you don't enjoy the way that when you go there. So that's what happened. I think I was expecting something. I was looking for something, and I missed I missed the whole way, the whole track. So the thing in between, and probably he told me a lot of things, but I didn't get them really. Yeah. But I got his passion. Of course, I got some theoretical background on how to play guitar and how to feel. Mostly this, how to feel what was a good guitar, what was not. And he was sort of a luthier also. Yeah. So he sort of showed me this love for guitars also as an object, yeah, as an instrument, as an object, yeah, and this passion for wood, for electronics, for varnishes and this sort of thing, and so that's it. So he had this Kramer Stitchmaster, and so years went by, and more or less about 2000, I would say, year 2000, yeah. Well, I could check it out, yeah. But I think it was then that I bought my first real 80s guitar, which was the Kramer Stitchmaster Custom 1 black, which I think it can still be found on the internet, because I bought it from Main Street Guitars. And actually, I don't remember the name, but that man was really a good man and very helpful. The man there. And I also bought some guitars at Tommy Guitars, I think it was called, yeah. And so those were the first guitars that I bought, yeah. And that Kramer, I got it. I had it until lately, when I finally sold it, because I'm not playing guitars anymore, as I'll tell you later. But yeah, that was the first one, and that's how I got into guitar. So first I bought this one, and I have a sort of a tendency to, when I have something that I like, I normally buy two, because I say, hey, someday this may disappear or whatever. So I want to have another one of this type. So this is why I had two Rands. This is why I had or more. Rands just two, but or more Stitchmasters. So then I got another one. So I ended up with 8 Stitchmasters or so, yeah. So it was a bit mad, yeah. And should I tell you about my other guitars now or later?
Yeah. Tell us about So it started with the Stagemaster. Yeah. That was your first, and then it started growing into more things from there, more 80s guitars. So tell me the process. So how did you really end up accumulating so many guitars? Were you just kind of constantly looking at guitars, and before you know it, you had a lot of guitars show up?
You mean like the real story of why this happened? Yeah. So as you said, maybe I should mention some of the guitars I had, and then I will explain So I had like Fender, different types of Fenders, like types. I mean, like different models, custom shop, and like the standard, the Ultra, I think it's called, master build, 54, 57, different things. Yeah, Japanese Fender. So different. Well, also Fullerton, Fullerton 82. Yeah. So lots of Fenders. Yeah.
Yeah, you had some Kramer Night Swans. You had
So about the Fenders, I'm just saying this because I bought them like every now and then. Like I bought one. Yeah. So but as regards the 80s guitar, so I had like Kramer's, lots of the Night Swan, lots of States Masters, the Baretta, and the Vanguard, and the I would say I had all the models except for, I don't remember the name, that strange red one, I forgot the name.
The Triax?
Yeah, the Triax, I didn't have this one, and the other strange one. Apart from those,
the Enterprise.
Yeah, exactly. So apart from these two, sorry because I forgot the names now, but I was really into that when it was the time. So apart from these two, I think I had them all, except for the Prags also. Yeah. So I had the Night Swan, the Berettas, the Focus. I think all the models of Focus. Yeah.
The Focus ones. Yeah. Liberty. Do you have the Liberty?
Yeah. No. The Liberty. No. Nearly, but I didn't want it because. It had, as I told you privately, it had this sort of Floyd.
Top mounting Floyd against the body.
Yeah. So
you didn't like that?
I don't really like this. Yeah. But yeah, at some point I could have had it. I mean, I could have had other guitars that I didn't want either. So I had lots of guitars, but that was because it was the beginning. But then I began getting more picky and deciding, I can have this, but I have the money to have this. Actually, I'm just a teacher, so. But I mean, I could buy it, but I don't want it. Actually, as I told you, the last guitar my dream guitar would be a Kramer States Master flip-flop red with golden hammer. I found it on internet. A guy from America sold it to me, wanted to sell it to me or could sell it, and I said no because that's the time is gone. You say, yeah. The time is finished regarding buying guitars, and so I didn't buy it. But of course, that would be my dream guitar. So I had Washburns, N4, EC. I had
EC29 and 94.
Yeah, 29, 94. Also, I think I had lots of 80s guitars, but what I didn't have is the Jacksons. I didn't have any Jackson and Tarbell. That's what I didn't have. But I had Washburns, Garvins, quite a lot. Yeah, like DC 100 and
the 125s.
Yeah, exactly, and 135, and DC 400. Yeah, like about 2. Yeah, I think. And then also had lots of PBs. Yeah, PB Vandenberg, bolt-on, and also custom with maple fretboard, with the ebony fretboard, more than one. Yeah. And I normally tend to buy, if I can, mint condition guitars, if I can, sort of an obsession, but of course with the Rands it was not possible, so I bought the ones I found, Of course I would never buy a broken headstock one because I don't know how I wouldn't know how to repair that, So and apart from that, I got also like Ibanez, models and the branch. I should check it out, but
how did you hear about a lot of like the Rand guitar? How did you even hear about that guitar, or even a lot of these guitars? You just researched them on the internet, or what?
Wow, that's a good question because I really don't remember how I got to the Rand really exactly, but in those times, when I was 20 something or nearly 30, 20 something probably, 29 or so, for sure I was an hour and a half for sure looking for information per day, like every day, looking for information, investigating and looking into other guitars and more 80s guitars and well, of course that internet then worked well, but it was not like nowadays you have lots of information, so you had to really go into that, so I don't think it was Eddie Vegas where I found it. I think it was like maybe Vivian Campbell. Who knows? I don't know. But I know that I got there. So then I began talking to people that I got into some sort of forum or forums. Yeah. Then I began talking to people that had or had these round guitars. As you said, as we mentioned, having lunch. I think we already talked. We talked to each other like about 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's funny because like Farron and I talked like 10 years ago, something with the Washburn EC29. When I was a vintagewashburn.com owner, and we were talking about guitars I just found out, and here I am 10 years later, we're talking again, and I'm in Barcelona. So yeah, so you kind of found a lot about these guitars and the collection, and so just a lot of research in that point. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in Spain or Catalonia or whatever, I don't want to get into politics now, but in here, it's, I mean, maybe you don't believe it, yeah, but in here people, they don't even know what a rand is really, or sometimes even Washburn EC or P. Vandenberg, but maybe because I'm a bit more open, and that's why I studied English and so on. But I'm not saying that Spanish people are close or Catalan people are close to people, but I'm quite an open guy. I'm very, very, very curious, which I think it's in theory good, yeah. In principle, it's good, yeah, as long as you don't get into strange things. But I think it's good. So this is why I got to know these different brands and different access. And this is why I got to know you when we were talking about Washburns, and of course with every sort of different type. I mean, as it happens with every sort of new hobby, like maybe archery, maybe roller skating, or synthesizers. Every time it's like, yeah, that's synthesizers. But then when you get into that area, it's a full world and range of new possibilities. Yeah. So the same happened with guitars. Of course, when I got the first one, I didn't know how to set properly a Floyd Rose. Yeah.
And you said that in Spain here, so when you got the Rand guitar or something with the Floyd Rose, they didn't know how to even work on those the Floyd Rose here in Spain. Is that what the luthiers here never seen? You brought was it the Rand or some other guitar? Yeah. So tell us that story.
Yeah, well, the thing is that that when I got that black Stagemaster, the Kramer Stagemaster, which was my first real 80s guitar, and with real Floyd Rose, German Floyd Rose, and so on. Well, that was my first Floyd Rose. So I said, how the hell do I set this up? Yeah. So I tried, and well, you know what happens the first time, yeah. So you get one string out of tune, then the others get out of tune, and then you try putting something under the Floyd Rose, and then you try to tune that up with that thing behind the Floyd Rose. But I never did it this way anymore. Yeah. So I tried it, didn't work. So I took it to a shop in center of Barcelona. I'm not going to say the name, but I took it to a shop in the center of Barcelona, and as soon as I opened the case, they were like, hey guys, you come here, look at this, it's amazing, it's impressive. So my next step was like, click, close it, bye.
Because they'd never seen the Floyd Rose before.
I think they had never seen a guitar, a good guitar.
Like an electric American guitar?
No, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they had some tarbles hanging in there, but the way they had the conditions in which they had the tarbles, you could tell they hadn't set them up, because I'm not just talking about the dust on them, but I'm talking about the strings were poorly. I mean, the whole Floyd, the setup was horrible in general. Like everything. As you know, I like the action very low. Yeah. So, but this, of course, with time you learn how to do it. Yeah. For example, when you could dismantle a Floyd Rose, and in 15 to 20 minutes, I mean, totally. Yeah. I have it rebuilt or reset, but the whole thing. Yeah. Because I was quick at this, and I learned how to do it. And of course, I didn't put anything behind the Floyd. I just did it like very easily. I think it's easy. It's very easy when you understand the physics. I'm not a physician, or I'm more into languages and so on. So it's very easy. It's like you have the one force and the other force, strings and springs. Easy. So once you get the idea, it's easy, and this is what helped me later on with the colors, with the colors and other more complicated Floyd Roses, or tremolo systems. But yeah, that experience taught me that I had to learn by myself how to set this. and that's what I did. So I remember the first day that I said to myself, I have to do it, yeah. So it took like an hour and a half or two, one afternoon, second afternoon again. So but then it was easier and quicker and quicker, yeah.
So you've had one of the biggest guitar collections I've of any person I know, and so over 150 guitars, a lot of them from the 80s American guitars. Tell us what are some of your favorite of those guitars and why?
Well, so I think my favorite guitars, it's difficult to put them in order, but probably, and I'm speaking mostly like from the heart and not like technically. I can talk about them like in technical terms later, but probably the Kramer Stutzmaster Custom. It has to be this one, not the standard model. Of course, the Archtop one, yeah. But yeah, the custom one, because of the slanted single pickup, also, yeah. And then in this order, P. Vandenberg Custom, yeah. And then here I have like mixture of how to say this. Anyway, next would go both. So two guitars like Gibson M3 and Washburn EC29. But this, as I tell you, I wouldn't be able to decide which one comes first. And I'm talking about 80s guitars, yeah, because I realized I'm more of a Fender type of guy. Yeah, sorry, I said it. but that came later. But Washburn EC, Gibson M3, and Carbine DC. I mean, these three. I mean, I love them both. I love them. Yeah, all of them. So it's difficult to know, but I would say Kramer Stutzmaster and P. Vandenberg Custom. Yeah.
Yeah. And which ones did you like the most, like from a technical point? Technical thing.
Yeah, the thing is that when I began, I've never been a luthier repairman, but of course, once you get into varnishes and woods and more technical stuff like Floyd Roses and so on, yeah, of course, when you have to set them, you realize there are some flaws, some drawbacks, some things that are
drawbacks,
not drawbacks. Yeah, what did I say? Drawbacks. Some drawbacks. Some things that are not as as with people, yeah. If you could have a mixture of the things you like the most, that would be the perfect whatever, girlfriend, boyfriend. So the same with the guitar. I wouldn't say there is a perfect guitar. The reason because technically speaking, because Washburn EC29 as with the N4 has got that cutaway, which is like a dream cutaway. It's amazing. You have the best access to higher frets. I mean, this cannot be improved really in the sense, yeah. Then what is it that I like the most of the Kramer Stutzmasters? So probably the design, this sort of archtop finish, the paint. The combination between colors and golden hour and this sort of hour, yeah, the ebony fretboard, the form of the headstock, yeah, and the inlays. So mostly everything, I would say, yeah. Of course the guitar, it being neck through, yeah, also. So, but of course, then I realized that in some case, yeah, I had one of those guitars, a neon pink one, and fluorescent pink. And one of the pivot screws of the Floyd Rose, they are stuck to the stack, they are screwed into the wood directly without any metallic.
The Kaler Spider you're talking about?
No, the Floyd Rose on a Kramer Stutzmaster is screwed directly into the wood without any sort of metallic base or so inside the wood. So. Of course, once you use a lot, I mean, it got to me like that. I got it like this.
Starts to move.
Yeah. So the pivot screw next to the bar, so it moved a bit forward, and it's a bad thing to be repaired because it's like 300 euros. Yeah, you have to put new wood, drill the hole again. It's difficult, yeah. plus it's an operation you don't want to really like do, yeah. So then I realized that was a flaw, a bad thing, something not very well designed. Probably it was the moment when they began putting those bases, yeah. So maybe they thought the sound transmitted better without the bass. I don't know, yeah. But of course with carbines and with Washburns and with all the other guitars, actually they have the bass, and I think that's an improvement, yeah. Then as for the P. Vandenberg Customs, the only thing that I would improve, because I think they're excellent guitars, it would be the tremolo itself. The Color Spider, it's a good trem. It's quite it's heavier than the Floyd Rose, which gives it, which I don't know why, but it plays like lighter or softer. I mean, like you can bend more easily, which it's a bit contradictory because the Floyd Rose is heavier, but maybe the scale is short.
The Vandenbergs are a Gibson scale, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It makes bending much easier. But the Floyd there, the Color Spider, if you don't use it every now and then, like on alternative days, it gets sort of stuck, like I would say not like blocked. So you have to use it quite often. Yeah, it's something that I experienced. I don't know if it happens to anyone else, but it happened to me. So, and of course, the parts there, as I told you, you have those. Well, the base for the Floyd Rose, for the original one, I think it's made of fulcrum, so it's like very hard steel. Whereas for other trims, such as the Color Spider, you have those knives made of fulcrum, but then the rest of the tremolo is made of whatever, metal, but not that good.
Metal or something, yeah.
Yeah, so then, that was bad because once I got a screw broken in there, so I had to ask, color parts are getting difficult to find, so I had to phone somewhere in America. It was a long story, yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I mean, you suffer a lot with this because you say, how am I going to solve this here in Spain? Yeah? And well, of course, I mean, with the Washburn EC, you know that there are two different type of models of Floyd Rose. Of course, there is the old one that I had, yeah. So I tried to get rid of those guitars first, yeah. So I kept one, which is a Sunburst, as you saw in the video. And the trem, I think it can be replaced more easily, but I think it's good. It's quite good quality. Of course, you cannot compare it with the Floyd Rose, but it's okay. Yeah, and I mean, like, all guitars have some good things, and all guitars have some. I mean, they all have good things and bad things.
Exactly.
Like,
there's no perfect guitar.
No, for example, my Carvin that you saw, the Carvin DC 135, which is like amazing. It's amazing. But then the pickups are not amazing. They're a bit cold. They are they don't sound very. They don't have very high output. Yeah. So it's like, why the hell did they put these pickups in here? I mean, it's a mess to just remove everything and put it again and change pickups. So yeah, it looks like there's no perfect guitar. I mean, technically speaking, yeah. So you have to probably get the one that suits you best. For example, Parker's. I've got two Parker Fly Mojo. It's called like this. Parker Fly Mojo, yeah. Flies, amazing guitars if you're traveling around the world and you don't want to be paying attention to the weather all the time because the wood changes and so on. So these are perfect. Just a bit cold sounding, but with you can change this with effects, yeah. But they are very well made guitars, very nice. A bit cold, also like physically cold, like they're cold, yeah. It doesn't look like wood a bit, yeah. But I would say, and for example with the Ibanez, I had a good surprise because. Well, first I bought an Ibanez. Well, first I don't remember which one came first, but I had a strange, like some strange model like XV500. It's like something like very pointy and it's amazing, very nice, very low action, very 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 low action. Yeah. But then I said, well, okay, that's a good guitar, but this cannot. I mean, the fame that the Ibanez has cannot come from here. Yeah. So then I got a white gem. Steve Vai guitar, the old ones, a 96 or so with ebony fretboard, and I said, yeah, that's a good guitar. Yeah, this is a good guitar. It even had a bit of a crack next to the neck joint. Yeah. So, but I said, but that's still. I mean, this is a good guitar. I mean, you could feel it. Yeah. And because well, I always sort of underrated Ibanez models. I don't know why I didn't like them, and then I started having Ibanez models, and I realized if you had to know how to buy the good ones, those were good ones.
Yeah.
The same happens with Gibson. I don't know if you want to tell me about this later or another video.
Yeah.
But I just realized that I mean, bearing in mind the price I can pay, the only Gibsons that for me were worth it were like 71, 74, 72. Those Gibsons. The rest, no.
Not a fan.
I'm
of
talking about
ones.
custom,
Yeah.
Gibson custom, not
Okay.
about standard. Yeah.
So Farron, so you had a very large collection, so 35 plus guitars at one time, and you accumulate over 150 guitars in a time frame, right? So what exactly happened? So now you sold a lot of your guitars, and you got some guitars, but obviously not as many as you had. So tell us what made you decide to say, okay, this I have a lot of guitars, it's time to do something about this.
No, I just turned into a Buddhist monk now. No, joking. Just joking. No, now I mean I'm not cured. Yeah, just psychiatrists say I'm okay, I'm better now. But I'm buying bonsais. Anyway, I'll tell you about the story later. Now the thing is, the thing is that that period of that frame that you talk about, because we didn't talk about how long it took, how long it lasted. Maybe about 12 years or 14 years or so, maybe 13 years, and of course it began very slowly because I also didn't have the money. I also didn't know how to do it. It was difficult then, it was a bit more difficult, and then it stopped slowly, until I really realized of what had happened, and then it was much easier, but of course every ill person would then recognize this as an illness, and I don't think it is, because I never considered my guitars as a collection. I never considered myself a collector, never, ever. I just wanted to learn about, as I said, varnishes, about wood. Probably I made a mistake, and I should have studied something to become a luthier, or that would have been good, But I checked out, and the cost was about 3,500 the course, and I didn't know the person doing the course. I didn't have any references, so I said, well, why should I pay this money just to build one guitar? And I didn't feel like doing it, So I decided to learn by myself. But the thing is that I think I confused having and being, or having and knowing, So having guitars and having more and more guitars will not make you play better, Of course, by playing, each guitar will transmit some sort of feeling to you, So you get different feelings that you cannot play in the same. You could play Inge Malmsteen on a Ibanez and vice versa, But you wouldn't expect someone playing what Inge Malmsteen plays on a Fender, But it can be done. So, but in general, guitars transmit some sort of feeling to you. So anyway, I'm getting lost now. Going back to the topic. I had more and more guitars, As you said, I just had like about 35 at the same time at home, I had like I had them in the dining room, not that, the lunch, dining room, And I had them in a bad position, They really bothered me when I wanted to open the window. So, and then my girlfriend at the time, she said, well, why didn't you put them here, at the back of a column, So they were like bothering a bit less, And then I changed them to this room, so they are here, the ones I have now, at the back, and there. But now I only have about 8, which is enough, for not playing, And the thing is that at some point or another, so it began slowly, then I had this and that, and so I bought, at the beginning, I bought maybe one every 3 months, every 4 months, then every 3 months, and then at some point I bought like 2 every month, even sometimes 3 maximum, of course. And then I could sell. The market was very quick then, So you could buy 2 and sell 1. Of course, you had the crisis then, the big crisis. So in those years, so I'm talking about 2007 or 7 has
2008.
yes, 2004 also,
Okay,
You had a bit of a crisis, yeah. So not you, but we had a crisis globally in the world. So you could buy a guitar for $300. I mean, I bought a Kramer Blues Breaker for $200. I bought a Kramer H1 mint condition from Johannesburg, South Africa, which I also risked a lot. Yeah, I risked a lot. So for $500. I mean, I think it's quite cheap, yeah. So well, I get more and more confidence. I got more and more self-confident about with doing this. Yeah, well, and then I bought some other Fender, Gibson, which were more expensive. I realized it could be done, no problems. Yeah, you had to pay those customs fees and those happy things, yeah, those funny things. You paid that anyway. It was still worth it because the prices, probably in America the crisis was worse, or maybe there are more people in America, yeah, and so more people were selling things, yeah, and so there was that opportunity, yeah, there you could do that. Not anymore, maybe, I think, yeah, because now it's getting more and more difficult, but then it could be done, yeah. But at some point or another I realized I had too many guitars. I was having more and more guitars. I wasn't playing any better, really, and then I realized the market was beginning to get a bit stuck, a bit blocked, yeah, a little bit, very little by little, yeah. At the same time, personally, I was in a relationship, yeah. She was a very, 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 very nice girl, yeah. I mean, I could not say even just one bad thing from of her, yeah. But for some reason or another, the relationship didn't fill me in. I wasn't fulfilled, so probably I wasn't fulfilled myself with myself. So the relationship wasn't developing the way I wanted. So probably I this was a way of filling that emptiness, yeah,
filling the void with guitars in a way. Yeah.
Partially. I mean, there was a part. Partially, I wanted to in some way I wanted to learn about guitars. In some other way, I wanted to learn to play the guitar. In some other, I mean, I wanted to try new things. I'm curious. I was with a relationship that began to fail. My grandmother also died. My uncle died also, cancer. So lots of things. Finally, that relationship stopped, or was split. And then I realized the whole thing was too much. Also, a friend of mine, he told me, my parents sometimes they told me, why do you need so many guitars or whatever, yeah. But of course, none of this would be as useful as when you really realize that it makes no sense, yeah, maybe. So then when I sold one, I felt, hey, I feel great. I sold another one, hey, I feel great. Of course, I never sold guitars to just whatever. I mean, some people just sell to the first person that comes, but I normally tend to choose quite well the people, especially with Rands and Kramers, yeah. I'm not selling those guitars to the first person that arrives and that's it, because I want to know who's going to have it, yeah. So I'm very happy to have met Darren, personally a bit better now because we met 10 years ago, but I'm very happy that he has this guitar, because I know that he'll take care of it and he'll play it, and so it's going to be well played, and he'll probably do all the projects from now on with this guitar. And the other guy was really, really enthusiastic about it. So I said, well, that's the way I felt when I wanted it, yeah, because I bought two, yeah, and they were very expensive. So at least I could get back some of that money, and personally I'm more relaxed by knowing that someone that comes from the other side of the planet will have this. I mean, this is total guarantee. And after having met him a bit better these days, well, that's totally totally proved, or yeah. And well, that's it. So I realized there were too many guitars. So then of course I got into synthesizers, but was relaxed. I just have two, yeah, for the time being. And no, just two because my girlfriend said stop, and the new girlfriend. Okay. The relationship is better. and now well, I'm more into bonsai. I've got lots of books in here on bonsai. Well, I don't want to get into this topic. Maybe later we go upstairs and you can see the bonsai. But well, it's a different hobby. It brings about different opportunities and different feelings, and so it's, yeah. Of course, I still have guitars. Yeah, I have some Fenders. you saw the video maybe, the carvings, so I think I kept the best ones except for yours. Except for the Rand and the Cremesis Master. I don't have any, it's amazing. But there's something that I learned from all of this. More than one thing maybe, but especially, well, this stupidity probably for you, it's stupidity like having is not knowing, or having is not playing well. There's this difference, and also I learned lots of things regarding materials and the history of guitars. Of course, if you want to buy a Fender 1974 or 1971, I mean, they are not like $30,000, but you have to more or less investigate to know what you're buying. So I learned a lot of things, but I think what I learned, the most precious thing that I learned is like more personal things, the experience that remains in you after all this process. I think it's a good experience. I think so. This is why, if you would ask me, why do you keep these guitars and not the others? Because I just realized that I'm asking myself the question now. Okay. Do you agree?
No, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now I just realized that I mean, if I want to learn how to play the guitar again, if I want to play the guitar again, apart from that, what I told you about, that I'm more of a Fender type of guy nowadays. But I think you can play the guitar with whatever guitar. I mean, like as I said, Ingrid Malmsteen plays with a Fender. I mean, and more of a, I'm not that much into the 80s now type of guitars. But still, when I open the carbine, the case with the carbine, or with the Washburn, or with the Gibson M3, I say, man, it's great. But it's an instrument after all, and I think at some point or another I forgot about this, about the fact that they're instruments to be played, and I think it's we talked about it, when having lunch, and I think it's important for you guitar players, to try and bear this in mind, to keep this in mind, that these are instruments to be played. It's okay if you have one which you don't play, we never play, but it's like having a tree and not a fruit tree, and not collecting the fruits and never trying them. It's like it has leaves, it's there, it's alive, but a guitar, it's not a living being. So unless you make it play, it makes nothing. So it's a bit sad. So that's it. I mean, there was a moment when it didn't compensate. So having them was a weight. It
was, like you said, the guitar is more just an object, is what you're saying, and it's just sitting there. There's no point in having the guitar just sit there and do nothing. Like you said, it's like a tree that produces fruit but not taking the fruit off it. That's interesting. I
mean, it's a piece of wood. I mean, at some point or another, I just realized, really, after 5 years of having a whatever guitar for sale, and nobody even, that crazy man, but nobody asking for it. I was like, okay, I'm going to die with it. I will die with this guitar, and I'm going to. I promise. I thought I'm going to make them burn. I mean, I'm going to have them destroyed. Because I said nobody values this. Nobody finds the value, or nobody thinks it's worth it. Then it's going to be worthless. I mean, I'll make it worthless. If someone finds it like it's something. I mean, these are. Can I say a swear word? It's a fucking. It's amazing. It's an incredible guitar. I mean, I cannot believe it. It was 5 years for sale. I mean, and no one even telling me saying to me, hey, I'm going to give you half an hour and half later, and you can keep it for the time being and whatever. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's something related to Spain, because some people may think, Spain. Well, those people are there in Africa. No, it's actually the ad was all around Europe. In Mercantino Musicale, on the web pages. Not in Germany, but I think German people know how to look for guitars in guitarristas.info, other places. And it's funny. And then all of a sudden, two people phoned and we got in touch. Well, the same thing happened. Should I explain it or not, with the famous guitar player that got the PV Vandenberg custom, or not?
No, maybe for another time.
Okay, another time.
So it took you like 5 years to get those two Rands, you said.
Yeah.
Like a long time.
Like to find them?
Yeah, to find them, and then you had them for sale for a while, and people in Europe aren't really interested in them as much. But in America they are, so that's But it's a hassle to bring them from Europe to USA. So that's probably a big thing. But then so for 5 years you had it for sale, but not a lot of interest. And then in a matter of a week, me and someone else emailed you about the Rands, right?
Yeah, the thing is that those two guitars are the last ones I bought, except for four Japanese Fenders. I mean, yeah, I got crazy again for a while. I got crazy Christmas. It's a hard time. So I got 4 Fenders at the same time. Japanese Fenders, not that expensive, but amazing guitars. Well, I think there's a video on them. But yeah, these are the ones I bought. Actually, when I bought the 2 Rands, I was acting more as a collector than a guitar player, for sure, because I wasn't playing the guitar anymore. So at that moment, it was like, but I still hadn't realized about it, so I bought them. Now, when I had the opportunity to buy an amazing Kramer Stitchmaster, of which I talked about, flip-flop Red and so on, then I said, well, no, not now. I learned the story. I know this will not make me happier. I never bought a guitar to make me happier, but yeah, when you get a present, when you get a new parcel, when you get that was high. That was a high moment. It was like so, that was my dose.
So I had the temptation when you seen a Stage Master one time to want to buy it, but you learned your lesson and said, I want to buy that, but do I really need it? No. Is that kind of what?
Yeah. At some point in my life, I wouldn't say. I mean, of course I could control it, but if I wanted something, I bought it. I mean, I was quite compulsive. What does compulsive mean?
Yeah,
like very
impulsive. Like you want to buy it. Right
I mean, if I wanted a guitar, and of course it was not like $4,000, but maybe nearly. But if I wanted something, and I've never repented of both buying or selling a guitar. So every time I did something, I never regretted having done this, because I always learned something from every single thing that I did. So I never regretted. But it took like 5 years to find them. Also, I also met quite a lot of people that as I said before, some people that had them are like, there was a man that had a black Misfit 1 model and a red normal Rand, great, very nice, the red one. I nearly bought that one, finally didn't buy it, but then I bought another one. I don't know if it was the blue or because I don't know when this happened, but so I got in touch with different people that had Rands, not many, maybe 2 or so, and in different forums. And finally, it was very difficult, very tough to find those. And actually, we realized 2 days ago or so that I bought them like very, very the same time, So I bought them at the same time. I sold them at the same time, and in between, lots of years, a very big gap to find them and to sell them. It's like probably it's the climax of 2 periods, of the buying period, climax, and then the reflection period, climax. So I know what comes next, but it's like it marked 2 moments. I think.
Interesting. Oh, wow. Well, thanks for the story, Fern. So it's really interesting, and so I guess we'll finish us off. What do you think the future holds for you in general, in guitars and music, I guess? Anything you think that's going to happen in the future?
Well, I mean, there's something that I see. Well, there's something that my first teacher. By the way, just let me mention one person, David Ovejero. Great. I mean, if there's one teacher that I had with whom I learned music, and I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying the first one was a bad teacher. I'm saying that maybe I wasn't ready for that. He was too much of a teacher. Maybe a very good one, the first one. But that one, David Ovejero, amazing, great channel. He plays. He has a very good method. His method is like this, and there's everything in there. I mean, amazing. Okay, stop talking about him. But I learned a lot about him. But it was too late. And you say, it's never late to learn music. Yeah, well, for me it was too late. The whole thing reminded me of other things. And So, but the thing is that you ask me what's going to what am I going to do with in the future with music? Well, music it's been always in my life. It's going to be always in my life. So, I couldn't say, I wouldn't dare to say that I will never play the guitar again, because sometimes I still have the temptation of not buying, of playing one of my Fenders. I don't have the temptation that much of playing a Gibson M3. Really, I don't know why. Yeah, but sometimes I feel the temptation of.
Yeah. So you don't like the Super Strats as much. You like more of the regular Fenders.
I like them, but as amazing objects of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, maybe it's more beautiful a Carbon DC or Gibson as design.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer them much better than a Fender. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But the feeling I get when playing a Fender, the way I feel, maybe even with an Ingrid Malmsteen one, maybe with that model or just a normal Fender. I don't know why, because I know that my eyes tell me one thing, and what I feel tells me another thing.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes say, "Come on, this is the creepiest." I mean, it's the simplest guitar. I mean, the 4 balls and
Yeah.
but I don't know. The feeling is like great. Yeah, I feel great. And with an 80s guitar, I it's like, wow. Let me play it. I have it, and it's like, what the hell? What should I play now? I don't know. Maybe I lack the skills, well, being fast, scales, the shredding thing, the tapping, and at some point or another, I knew how to do that. There's a video on me playing Last Horizon. I know it's not very thrash metal, but Last Horizon by Brian May. Yeah, I mean, at some point or another, I could play something. Yeah, but it's too much. I mean, you need too much. It's like, well, a lot of technique to play some things. Yeah, so I think I got a bit tired. Yeah, so. And apart from guitars, yeah. So I say tried because I don't find the time really. Lots of bonsais and well, work and so on. But I tried to start with synthesizer. So I've got a Yamaha AN1X and an Norlid A1. And of course, well, my Mac is full of VSTs, free VSTs, and also some ones payment ones. Some ones that you can buy online, and it's great. But the computer doesn't inspire me. I'm not getting inspired in front of a screen, and the physical synthesizers. They need a lot of time. Yeah, so the Yamaha, it's a physical modeling synthesizer. It's quite difficult to play, although it's amazing. And the Norlid, it's easier, but I still haven't had the time after 1 year. And yeah, it's absurd. Yeah, and so I've got all the rack. It's behind the synthesizer, so for me it's now physically difficult to play the guitar. Yeah, because I have to move everything and so on. But I know that someday I will go back to I will take the guitar again. Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's why I'm keeping some. I mean, I'm going to sell maybe 2 more Fenders or 1 more Fender and maybe 1 more from the 80s, and then I will keep the rest and see what happens. Mm-hmm. And we didn't talk about. You tell me if you want me to talk about the rack I once had, or the effects or the amps that I use.
Yeah, just talk about the rig. Yeah, talk about your favorite rig you once had, and amps and everything.
I mean, actually, I have a photograph somewhere in a forum. I can send it to you, so you can upload it. Yeah, but at once the rack was like 2 Rocktron cases, 2 Rocktron speakers.
Yeah.
Which I know they are not very good, but yeah, they worked pretty well for me. And also with the Rocktron Voodoo Valve preamp and the power. I don't know how to call this. The Rocktron 100. To make it sound, there's the preamp, and then there's another thing to make it sound. I don't know how to call this.
Preamp and this. So there's the preamp, and then it's like the regular amp.
So there is the Rocktron Voodoo Valve with the sounds and so on, and then there's maybe it's called the preamp.
Okay, probably okay. Preamp, yeah.
So both are Rocktron, yeah. And then I had the Carbon Quad X, amazing, 9 valves, amazing, yeah. Really sounds really very well. Sold it. Then I had I still have Art SGX 2000 Express. Yeah, good, but a bit strange. I mean, difficult to use. I also had the one that Steve Vai used to use. don't remember the name now. It's something like it's Digitech or it's a strange name. If I
he used Carvins, didn't he?
yeah, at once he had used one which was like purplish, a bit purple. Digitech, I don't know. I'll tell you later. Yeah, and that was okay. But I mean, probably the carbon quad sounded better, yeah. And the Rocktron, it's cheap and it sounds quite good, yeah. And then, as an amp, as a house for the house, yeah, I use a very simple amp, which is a super temp. But because for the cleans, it's got one valve. That's it, easy, yeah. And then for distortions and so on, I normally use an Oco Diablo, red pedal Oco Diablo, and then Memory Man, yeah, for delay, and also Strymon El Capistan.
Okay, Strymon, yeah.
Strymon El Capistan, yeah. So these pedals are really good, yeah. At some point or another, I wanted to buy a tape echo, but it was a bit too much. And then I've got 2 amps by Mario Punsola, very good amps. 1 watt and 5 watts, yeah. And these you can crank them up. You can make them sound very well. This is 1 watt, so you can use it. And it's got like different valves inside. And these are hand point to point made, so very well made. And yeah, with those 2 and with the pedals and with the Fender, and if you put some sort of backing track, Pink Floyd, something that's good, yeah. And for the rest, I can use the Rocktron, and that's it. Rocktron Voodoo valve, and that's more than enough, yeah. Yeah,
got it.
I think, yeah.
Nice. Well, you had quite the experience with guitars and amps and everything. So now looks like you got a bright future ahead of you, and hopefully, down to still a lot of guitars.
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'll make him buy another one.
Yeah, I like that. Like I said, I like that EC29. Maybe next time I'm back and I'm traveling here, we'll meet again. But yeah, I'd like to thank you for having me over and showing me everything around the city. And still got to take that guitar back to the States. I think it's going to go well though. And then I'll take good care of that Rand for you.
Okay, I'm sure he'll take care of it, and I'm sure there are many projects to come. And the best thing the best thing is that we have a very nice friendship. So that's the best thing, to making a new friend and a good friend. So he's a nice person. So I think that's the best thing for me, because after all, I think if you just play the guitar, but this doesn't bring about like more experiences, getting to know more people, nice people, and it doesn't make you richer in some sort of personal or spiritual way, then it's a bit there's no, at least for me, it's my opinion, it's a bit pointless.
Exactly. So this guitar brought me to Spain in a way, and we got a friendship, and it's experiences along with purchasing the guitar that are actually more important than the guitar itself.
Exactly. I mean, and now he will meet the other person that got the other brand. And I didn't talk about a very nice man from the States. I'm not going to mention his name, but if he sees the video, he knows who he is. Is BR, the initials, And I really have to thank this great man. The fact that some of the guitars that I bought from the States, some people don't want to ship the guitars, even me. Sometimes I don't want to ship, because shipping to America is really complicated. I never did it because it's like 300 euros. It's too much, So and it's complicated. So sometimes the same thing happened when they had people from America had to send the guitars here. They didn't want to. I said, no worries, I have a man that maybe he will help me, and so on. And so they sent the guitar. I paid the guitar. They send it to him, and he would either just leave it like that and resend it to me, or unpack it, play it a bit, because I allowed him to do that sometimes, and he would play it a bit and have it for a couple of months, and then he would send it to me. Like for free, just as a favor, like many times, So sometimes it's thanks to these nice people. By the way, we just got in touch again after 1 year and a half or so, a month ago, So you know who you are, and thanks to these people and thanks to these relationships, and I think it's better, So try not to play alone and live this, or I mean, try to share your experience, That's maybe the best advice that I could give.
Oh, I agree. All right, thank you very much, Farron, and we'll keep in touch over the years, probably.
Okay, thanks to you, that's for sure. For
Alright,
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'm on the rooftop in Barcelona, kind of by Farron's place. So, Farron is not buying guitars anymore, but it looks like he is buying a lot of bonsai plants. I don't know, Farron. I don't think you're fully cured of your buying some stuff yet. Yeah, interesting. Well, like you said, at least it's might be a little cheaper than guitars, no?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's cheaper because some of them cost like 20 euros, some of them 15 euros, 50. Have like 200 euros or so, yeah. But yeah, just about 3 or 4. Now the thing is not that, because of course I cannot afford like paying lots of money, because trees are more delicate than a guitar. So sometimes from time to time something happens and one decides it lift or it lift enough. So they're more delicate, but it's also true that they bring about other sort of feelings, other sort of emotions. So some of them are the ones we're recording now. They are junipers, so they are all the year round green. And some of them, the ones we're recording now, they are all junipers. Yeah, like all they are juniper Phoenicia, Sabina Phoenicia, and some pines. Yeah, but the thing is that some of them are also. I mean, some of them have no leaves in winter because how do you call this? Deciduous? No, the without leaves. So some of them have no leaves in the winter. Yeah. And then some of them have flowers. So there's one there, for example, which is called bougainvillea, and it's got they're not flowers; they are actually purple leaves. Yeah. If you go a bit down there, you can see the trunk and everything. Yeah. Like, from a bit further away, so that we can see the whole bonsai. Yeah. For example, they are inside boxes because in summer here it gets very hot. And then this protects the pot a bit from this heat, yeah, of the summer. So now we're beginning with the summer season, actually in a couple of days. So this helps it a bit, and they retain water a bit better. So yeah, it's a new hobby. You have to work with the wood. Fertilizers, you have to cut the branches you don't want, you have to give them form. Some people think it's like a torta, but it's actually, you will not find ever in nature in nature a tree that well treated, yeah, because it's got everything. I mean, even the form you give them. For example, if you come here, the form we give them, and that's the last thing I will say, the form you give the bonsai, it's specially thought so that all the layers and all the branches and layers. So if you just go down a bit, you will see the layers. Yeah. So all the layers will get light. Yeah. And so we are giving light to all of them. Of course, people think that this wiring here, maybe it's a bit too much and so on. But that's the only way to give these trees a bit of form. Yeah. But actually, they are very well treated. Yeah, we're very careful when repotting, and so I think it's I mean, you don't have, of course, I didn't begin with 10 at the same time. So I just began with 2, with 1 or 2, and then it all grew. Yeah, out of control. No, I'm just joking.